All right, I think we are live. Okay, well, let me get things kicked off here. First of all, before I do the screen share, welcome everyone. I think you can see one of my ears because of the background. So welcome to the first Near Town Hall. This is really exciting. We haven't done this before, so I hope you bear with us. It's going to be about an hour plus or minus, and we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. I'll introduce this in just a minute. And I'll share my screen here and we'll dive in. So I trust that everything is okay and you can see the screen. Yeah, and actually, hold on one sec. Let me just adjust this real quick. So I need to shift around one thing here so I can see if people are yelling at me. Great. So do another quick screen share. Beautiful. All right. Welcome to the first Near Town Hall. We haven't done this before. It's going to be fun. So what we're going to be covering today, so my name's Erik Trautman. I'm the CEO of the Near Foundation. We have a number of different things running down the list. So I'll kick off with a quick introduction, a little bit about the project, a little bit about what we're going to try to accomplish today. And then Illia, who's the CEO of Near Inc., he's going to talk a little bit more about kind of the current status of the project and what's coming up in sort of the short term and the medium term future. We'll have an update from Peter DePaulo, who's DevRel at the project, and he's going to be talking about all the cool stuff that's happening on the developer side. We're going to have two projects who are building on top of Near talking here, so you'll get a chance to see sort of what's possible, some people from the community, see what they're working on. So that's Mintbase and Flux. You'll be hearing from Nate at Mintbase and Peter at Flux. And then at the end, we'll close out with the Near Validator Advisory Board update from Viktor Bunin from Bison Trails. And then at the very end, we'll do some signal boosts and Q&A. So if you have questions, you should be able to ask them in the Hopin platform, and we'll sort of figure out how to do the routing behind the scenes and make sure that those get surfaced properly. So let's dive in. So what I'm quickly going to cover here just is a quick welcome, talk about Near a little bit, talk about the Near Foundation, and just hit today's goals, and then hand you off to Illia, and we'll kind of be off to the races. So first things first, welcome. This is exciting. Like I said, this is the first time that we're doing this. If you are watching this, like, you're officially part of the community. So there is no welcome form, sign up, anything like that. I mean, if you care enough to be watching this, like, we're happy to have you. And so thanks a lot for doing that. So welcome. As far as Near itself, I just want to provide a little bit of an overview of the project, just so everybody's on the same page, because I think there are a lot of people who are watching this who maybe have some familiarity, but not a ton of familiarity as far as like, why are we here and what are we doing? So just to kick off at the very highest level, why are we here? So what is our purpose? And so the purpose statement is one of the few things that we've had almost unanimous agreement across the whole core team, as far as this really fits exactly what we're doing. So our purpose is to enable community-driven innovation to benefit people around the world. And we usually break that into two pieces. The first piece is we're here to help people make stuff, which really means helping builders make stuff. And the second piece is to help make sure that that stuff actually makes it to the people who care, right? The people who need it. And I won't go too deep into the details of this, but this is something that we keep coming back to again and again and again when we're trying to figure out, is what we're doing the right thing? So as far as what is Near, I'll just assume that you may or may not have a full level of familiarity as far as what is Near. So Near is a decentralized platform which allows developers to build applications from shared state components that natively interface with digital value. So it's built on top of a blockchain. So there's the Near protocol, which is actually the blockchain, and then there's the Near platform, which is kind of everything, including the blockchain. And so the blockchain is it's public and permissionless. It's proof of stake. It's sharded, and then we have all the stuff on top of it, which is the financial layer, which is the application layer and all the tooling. In terms of what that looks like, if you look on the right, you can see that sort of the base of everything, of course, is the blockchain. In the middle stack, you've got the financial components, and that those actually interface with the Ethereum ecosystem, and in the future, some of these other ecosystems through Trustless Bridge. And then on top of that, you have all the developer tooling and everything that kind of brings that to the average developer. Our two focuses, we start with usability and back that up with scalability. So you hear a lot about scalability in the space. Everybody's really conscious of what's going on in Ethereum. So for us, it's never been enough to be scalable. You have to be scalable and usable. So a lot of what we've been doing as we put this whole platform together is, yes, we have a scalable blockchain underneath this. It's 10,000 times cheaper than Ethereum. It's has 1 second block times, and it's sort of designed to scale dynamically with the demand. But at least as importantly, we have the ability, because of our flexible account model, you can progressively onboard users, which basically means sort of hiding the blockchain. Developers and their apps can earn up to 30% of the fees that are generated from transactions through that smart contract. But ultimately, our entire reason here is that we want to make sure that blockchain is just build, test, deploy, done. Right, that is that easy, which is something that you really don't get from anything else in the space, and it's one of the reasons why we originally decided to build this. And so the Near Foundation, why am I here? The Near Foundation it's an independent nonprofit. I'm currently in Switzerland. We're based out of Zug. And basically, it's sort of the steward of the project. So it deals with coordination. That means gathering people like we have right now and creating space for the community. We handle working with the funding of the ecosystem. So that's everything from grant funding to a number of different initiatives that'll be announced over the upcoming months. We do advocacy, which is all about empowering local communities. So that could be you if you're watching. We have a guilds program where we empower community leaders to be leaders, and a whole slew of different things. You can interface with Shreyas or Nima if you have questions on that. And then ultimately, governance is really providing the space where governance can occur, and so that the protocol, any changes to the protocol, any roadmaps and things like that, that there's ultimately transparency, and ultimately that the community actually has a voice, and that voice is going to be heard, and it's going to be expressed through the things that are actually happening on the platform. But ultimately, today it's all about this. It's all about you, and it's all about this town hall. So as far as today, basically my goal is reintroduce you to Near, and so you'll meet some of the people of the team. It's definitely to give you a sense of where is the project, and what's coming up. That's really what Illia is going to be talking about. Introduce a few of the apps, get a sense of specifically how the next few weeks are going to work. So that's where Viktor is going to come in, and then ultimately help you participate in the future. So at the very end, we'll talk through a lot of sort of like up and coming stuff, questions, things like that. So as far as the next step, though, it's time for me to bow out, and we'll see if we can get Illia up here. So bear with us a minute. We'll do the swap, and we'll have you in good hands. So thank you. You're live.
All right. Hey, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks, Erik, for covering the introduction. I want to cover kind of current state and kind of set the stage for some of the subsequent talks as well. So first of all, the major milestone that we achieved, and we've been pretty much going to it 2 years as we started August 18, and pretty much just happened like September 2020, is actually having a decentralized network fully operational and having people running it around the world. So you can go and explore.near.org and check out the kind of current validators and where are they in the world. But the kind of core point is pretty much network is on their shoulders now. And this really kind of puts us into like the kind of next stage, right? So somewhere in May, we published this plan, right, of rolling out Near protocol mainnet, and it was in 3 stages, right? Phase 0 was where Near Foundation would be operating nodes and pretty much running network in proof of authority mode, where really it was designed to test all the tooling, make sure everything works, and give us time to really test it in a real environment. And pretty much gave us like kind of a smooth transition from Near Foundation running nodes to pretty much being run by a decentralized community. So that happened, and now the next stage is when we enable transfers, or when community enabled transfers and the network is fully governed and kind of proven out that it can be governed by validators. And so Viktor later will introduce a little bit more about validators, but I just want to kind of point out there's a like underneath, right, there's a voting contract that the way it operates is by allowing validators to cast a vote with their stake. And so this voting contract, it only can pass, right? There's no there's no expiration time or anything, right? This is not like a proposal or a bill or anything, right? It's really just a contract that as soon as it achieves enough weight, it will turn on the transfers. And with that, right, the next is not right. Next step will be for validators to upgrade protocol to turn on inflation. And to be clear, this is something that everybody wants, and everybody just wants to make sure that this will be made in a sustainable way. So and so I think some people saw the weight, the kind of the votes went up and down. And to be clear, right, Viktor will talk about this a little bit as well. But I just want to make sure that everybody understands that right now we actually are a little bit there's few things that are not ready yet, and that's why some validators actually pretty much unvoted, right? They pretty much removed their vote to wait until the final state comes. And to be clear, right, the as stake grows, right, the amount of stake needed will be growing as well. So what happened, right? One of the things that did not happen yet is actually token distribution. And there's few reasons why it's been taking a while. And I want to apologize to everyone who's been waiting for their tokens and they didn't arrive yet. But it is happening, and actually starting this week, starting today, we're going to start sending out tokens to all the people who have them. And to be clear, right, before today, actually nobody has tokens. No, not team, not investors, backers, financial coin list contributors, etc. And so this is this is starting to happen now, and this is a big part why some of the validators have kind of removed their vote, is because actually yet it's not a community vote, right? It's not really voting with a stake of their delegators. So the other part I want to kind of answer, and this has been a frequent question, is how does unlocks and transfers work, right? So one of the points that have happened is all the tokens that will be distributed are locked, and they are locked until phase 2 is voted in, by default. Which also means if there's some linear unlock or any other type of kind of unlocking schedule, vesting schedule, it starts only after phase 2 is being voted in. The only caveat is for the coin list sale, right? There is a 40-day regulatory window after sale closes, which closed on 25th. So whichever comes later, right? Either vote for phase 2 or 40 days after August 25th, which is October 4th, whichever comes later, right, is the kind of schedule for unlock for those tokens. The benefit is you can delegate those tokens at any time, right? The tokens inside lockup contracts are delegatable, and this allows pretty much to participate in the vote, participate in the ecosystem right away without needing to wait, and also participate in the unlock itself. I want to give a quick shout out to the Dokia. They have built a really nice UI to showcase all the validators and allow to stake to them through Near Wallet, CLI, Ledger, and they planning to add few more options. And so this really allows to like users who maybe not familiar with this command line, right, to go out and stake with their tokens and delegate to these validators. All right. So the other part I wanted to talk through is few of the things that are upcoming, right? So even though we built the first version, it is running live, but like we're not finished. There's a lot of kind of improvements and also a lot of features that we want to roll out. And so, and it kind of spans across both protocol and tooling, right? Kind of things that I'm working on top. So on the protocol level, one of the pretty much big things that our team been working on is improving testing infrastructure. So it's been a pretty kind of big leverage for us for past like 3-4 months as we've been running Stake Wars, is to continue improving testing infrastructure, pretty much capturing whatever have happened at the testnets with Stake Wars and replaying some of the same situations or some of the same scenarios in the testing infrastructure. And so the plan is to continue improving it, especially as we kind of continue expanding on the sharding. The other part is improving WebAssembly performance. Kind of originally, right, Near, like the whole design of Near is to create to create a scale out functionality, right? To ability to scale with shards instead of scale single shard performance. At the same time, so we haven't actually focused on improving performance of the single shard. And now that we have the kind of basic structure out, we want to improve some of the WebAssembly performance, low hanging fruit there, to really kind of maximize what one shard can do. The other really important piece is EVM. It's like from the start, right? We've been focused on WebAssembly. It's really great for new developers. It's great for kind of some of the seasoned developers who come in with Rust. Like assembly script is good for new developers. But in crypto, right, a lot of people are familiar with kind of Solidity, and there's a lot of code. There's already a lot of audited code. So EVM really allows to kind of unlock all the use cases that are that already exist, and some of the kind of combination of those, and port them on Near. So EVM is being added as a precompile, so it's kind of pretty native and has also like few interesting functionalities and how it works with other contracts on Near. And Force is kind of changing block production, block producer selection. It's been kind of like our schedule, our current selection process is very fair, but at the same time, it limits sometimes how many actual nodes we can have on network based on stake. So we want to change it to always bring pretty much top whatever number of nodes, and but still pretty much have a fair distribution of stake. The flip side of this is tooling. So obviously we want to continue improving kind of tooling for developers, and we are adding staking support to wallet. There's a lot of work on kind of bringing Rainbow Bridge to mainnet. So right now it's running on testnet. We have a hackathon happening right now, but pretty much doing a lot of work to make sure it is fully secure and ready for mainnet. And adding Web3 support, right, for Near EVM, so you can easily plug in your front ends into Near EVM. Cool, that's pretty much it. And I'll let Peter take over from here.
So I think okay, all right, I'm live. Hey everyone. So if you haven't heard from me before, hi, my name's Peter. I'm sort of the head of the developer community or developer relations, used to be developer experience, whatever you want to call me, that's fine with me. All you need to know is if it relates to developers, it's my business and I care a great deal about it. So first I wanted to talk a little bit about some of our goals previously and how we're moving forward with our developer experience and our developer community more broadly. We set out to build the best developer experience in blockchain, but I really want to emphasize something, and Max actually said it in the chat. That's sort of just a milestone. That's not really our end goal here. And as Erik said, it's not really our mission. It's something that serves our mission. But our baseline, the place that we're heading towards for improving the developer experience in the blockchain ecosystem overall, is actually creating a developer experience that beats something like Firebase or beats something like Amazon Web Services. And that is the milestone that we really want to achieve, on a longer timeline other than just being the best in blockchain. We think that not only is it something that we want to attain, but it's something that's going to drive the entire crypto space overall. And so I wanted to tell you, if you're a developer and you're watching this, essentially there's 3 take-homes. I have a few announcements. They're pretty minor, but there's 3 take-homes for how you can contribute to Near. And this is where I want to start sharing my screen. So let me go ahead and do that. Here you go. Looks like, okay, I'm just going to assume this is working. There we go. Okay, so yeah, ignore these announcements for just a second. I just want to show you guys a couple of things. Number 1 is actually to build apps using Near. And so I do this in demos that are more technical, but you can see this list of example applications that you'll be able to fork in your browser and start developing right away. So the number 1 way that you can contribute to Near is actually by building on top of Near, whether it's a real application, meaning you want to turn it into a business, or you want to build something for a lot of people, or it's just a toy application. Both of those are things that we find really valuable. We get feedback from developers, and we also like to see things built on top of us that we haven't thought of. The second way that you can contribute is just to contribute directly to our projects. So if you haven't been on our GitHub and you are a developer, there's a couple of things you should do. So number 1 is if you go to the old GitHub, I know this is a little bit confusing. There's 2, there's Near Protocol and there's Near, and star Near Core. That's super helpful. But if you go into this github.com/Near, you can see a lot of active development tools. If there's anything, even a language that seems interesting to you, something that you're oh, cool, Near Contract Helper is written in JavaScript. I'm a JavaScript pro. Click on that, look through the issues, just start coding against our core tools. So that's the second way that you can contribute. And then finally, the last way is to go to near.chat. There's a couple of things you can do here. And so, yeah, it looks like here, I don't want to open Discord. I want to launch it in the browser so you can see. Sorry, it's loading here. All right, well, while that loads, all right, there we go. So number 1, you have to verify. A lot of people get confused by this when they're onboarding. And as soon as you do, go to either the development support or the developer channel in the community, or actually, I think we might have moved it. But anyways, if you go into these development channels in Discord, there are tons and tons of questions. Asking these and answering these is the 3rd way that you can contribute. And furthermore, if you link to these on Stack Overflow, it grows our SEO on Stack Overflow, and it grows our community more broadly, because this is how people find answers to their questions. I realize that we've been talking about this a lot internally, but we haven't said this explicitly. So I just wanted to tell you guys, if you're like, I'm really stoked, I'm a developer, I really want to contribute, but I don't know how, let me review this really, really briefly. Number 1, build on top of us. That's near.dev. You can go get started immediately. Number 2, contribute directly to our tools. So on GitHub, if you just click one of these honestly, any one of these things, if you find it interesting, if it's up your alley, start putting in PRs, start putting in issues. It's extremely helpful. And then the last one is inside of Discord in the development support and in Stack Overflow, asking and answering questions. This is huge for us. It's something that we can't scale internally. We actually rely on our community for this to grow, sort of by definition, right? I mean, for the community to grow, the community has to be active, the community has to grow. So I wanted to tell you guys that before I just make a couple of minor announcements about our developer stuff, just in case you weren't sure how to get started. This is the best way. And if none of those things resonate with you and you're just totally lost, feel free to hit me up on Discord or email me directly. It's public. My email is peter@near.org, and I'll help you funnel into one of these things. Either start building on top of our platform, building into our platform, building on our tools, or engaging with the developer community. So with that being said, there's a couple of things I want to tell you guys about. So number one, if you haven't seen our YouTube channel, which I'm sure most of you have, there's a new series out called Blockheads that's for beginner developers. And the next video that's coming out is actually going to be a tutorial based on the last video. So these are designed to be more entertaining than educational. The next one coming out is a how-to guide, getting started if you're a total noob developer, not even new to blockchain, but just totally new to development, and you're just getting started. That's a great place to get your foot in the door. Number two, we're opening the ecosystem to external partner engineers. What does that actually mean? So a lot of people right now are really excited to transition from other blockchains or to build a new product that they intend to try to turn into a business, or it's already a running business. And right now, we don't really have the resources internal to support them because of the demand. And so if you're a really strong developer, especially if you're someone who's got a lot of experience in Ethereum, or you have a lot of Rust experience, or even if you have a lot of TypeScript experience, I would love to talk to you. We're bootstrapping this ecosystem, connecting partners who want to onboard with partner engineers so that you guys can work together to launch your project faster, just because we cannot address it as fast as we're getting questions. And then the last one is something I'm really excited. We haven't publicly shown this off, which is the bounties page, which pulls directly from GitHub. So this is the most important thing in my talk, and maybe it's a fourth way that you can contribute that I didn't actually mention in the other three, is you can either pick up bounties yourself by going and hacking on bounties that already exist. And there's a few of these in this near.org/bounties. Or if you're inclined, you can write bounties for things you want to see on Near, and one of our team members will actually go and fund these bounties, meaning we'll put what we think this is worth paying for out from the Near Foundation on these bounties that are created. So for instance, this is a bounty that has a PR active already, which is someone thought it would be cool to create an Angular template in the Create Near app, and we ended up funding it. Just a shout out to, I'm not going to try to say your name, I'm sorry, I don't want to say it wrong, but Faragly on your GitHub handle. He had the idea to build an Angular template inside of our generator that uses NPX, and now that exists. There's a PR waiting to be merged. So that's one minor success story I wanted to show you. And so just to reiterate, the last thing is, remember, new tutorials, but the three things if you're a dev: build apps using Near, contribute to the Near tools, or ask and answer questions on Discord. And then last, most importantly, bounties. So thanks, passing the mic, I believe, to Nate with Mintbase.
Nate Geier, co-founder of Mintbase, along with
Carolin. Hi.
So we are from the future. We've been ranting about NFTs for a couple years now, and no one's really believed us. And now it seems all the hype is back. So we're going to keep saying what we've been saying for a while and show you all sorts of neat stuff and in a full 8 minutes of time.
So at a high level, we are Shopify for NFTs, live on Ethereum right now, and we will be adding NEAR in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah. All right. So let's go here. We're just going to kind of show you the process. So right now you can see some fancy numbers here. We have 811 stores that have been created on Mintbase. That's a unique smart contract deployed by our users. So we've somehow managed to get a bunch of people who have never really interacted with a wallet to deploy their own smart contract, mint NFTs on that contract, and sell them through a process. Now we're going through a new phase where it's like, how can we make these NFTs more useful? And what are some things that are people doing?
So it's like the second wave of NFTs. There are lots of artists like musicians who are tokenizing their songs on Mintbase. Camila Russo, the author of The Infinite Machine, she even tokenized like a proof of pre-order tokens and distributed them to people who ordered her book. So this is just like one example that beautifully shows that it's not just like a collectible, an image, but also you have sound packed to this NFT.
And so to take a step back of what the heck we're actually doing, this is kind of a good thing. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so what do we do? A user comes on board, they mint a smart contract. We call that a store. You can create as many stores as you want, and you basically upload all that file content to another blockchain called Arweave. Each NFT can have music, sound, legal documents, all pegged to that NFT that we can't change and even the minter can't change. So why are we adding NEAR? Basically, back in the day, to mint one of these things or create one of these things was about $2. And now it's somewhere around 200 to 300 bucks. And to mint a few NFTs, 3 NFTs was literally $50. So try doing ticketing in that sort of situation. So
apart from the cost of like, NEAR has obviously some advantages, but we are also creating new like business models. We are allowing our customers to create their own business model. So for example, just imagine you're a ticketing company and you don't have money to like, set up the event. Before you need to pay like the caterer, you need to pay the musician, the artist. But now on NEAR, we are adding a split fee function so that whenever a ticket is sold, it gets automatically distributed among different parties. So that's like a completely new model that the traditional finance world has not seen yet. So we are hyper interoperable. So you can right now sign with any wallet like Fortmatic, Coinbase, Wallet Connect, MetaMask, of course, the NEAR wallet in the future. And it's awesome that NEAR has meta transactions baked into the system. So you don't always need to confirm every transaction when minting a token.
So you can see we make it as simple as possible. You can add your background image. You can add dates to whatever this thing is. You can add a lock file where only the owner can see the NFT and so on. We're getting pretty close to moving towards NEAR. So the biggest gripe we have is the fact that we don't have this giant, beautiful engine called the Graph, which we're really excited for them to move over at some point. But basically our entire backend data structure runs off of this thing. It's an indexer. So if you're curious what really makes a production application in blockchain, it all comes down to the indexer, because you can always create an application where you can change the state and pull the state, and it just ends up becoming loop after loop. So what we're actually building now, and we'll show you later on, is that we're building kind of this mechanism on NEAR as well.
Coming back to like our vision and how we see the future. So on Ethereum, it was a great experiment. We could see like people minting NFTs as tickets, as art, as photography. It was a great experiment, but we could not scale. But now with NEAR, we have this new opportunity that we can actually scale. We can like do ticketing for stadiums. We can provide a tool like Spotify for musicians. So we can really like decentralize so many different things. And we believe that in the future, like anything, then money will be tokenized. Sure, you can tokenize music, songs, videos, anything, and Near will really allow us to scale. Now Nate is showing how it will work on Near. So he's deploying a store right now, which is like the foundation of our tokens. So
we actually seed your smart contract with 25 Near tokens, and as soon as that does that, it boots you back into the app. And if the indexer is doing its job right, then we'll see all that beautifully update. But it is broken right now because I was just developing on it last a few seconds ago before this thing.
We're super excited about our launch.
Yeah. I think that's it. Danke from Berlin.
Am I live? Yeah? Yes, I think, maybe. Yes, I am. Okay. Hi, I'm Peter, co-founder of Flux. And yeah, I actually have some fun sort of demo to show you. So it's actually the first sort of public viewing of our app. So I'm going to share my screen really quick so you guys can all see. 1 second. I think I just have to share it on Zoom. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? I hope so. Okay, cool. So this is actually the Flux app. So I'm actually going to bring you through sort of the UX of the Flux app really quick. So we were actually one of the first teams to start building on Near about 18 months ago. So we're super excited that we were able to basically, get to this point now where Near is now fully sort of in their phase of decentralization, pending community vote. And this is now sort of the first kind of real world usable application launching. So I just want to give a quick demo of basically the UX of the Flux app. So here you can basically click login. There's two options, one which is sign in basically normally, and the other one is to sign in with one-click transactions. So I'll demonstrate this one. So this is kind of for power users, basically. So basically what we have here is you click, sign in. I'm going to click allow. Yes, I want them to be able to access my account. So now this is sending, and this is the onboarding flow that a user will actually normally take. And now we actually have a fun market here. So again, this is just like first version. We're still running through some bugs, but this is kind of the market view. This is a fun one. We're actually kind of internally talking like what will be the Near emoji in the future, and sort of what will be their DeFi meme. And so we actually have a market for this that people are trading on. So I can just basically show how it looks. So let's say we want it to be this little kind of like gamer pixely emoji. So what we'll do is we'll buy, let's say 10 shares, or actually let's do 100, so it costs a little bit more. Let's say the chance is 51%, so market price 51. We click review, we click confirm trade. And this is kind of where the real meat of Near comes in. So all of this is done on chain. This is processed. And if we go down to the order book, you can see that this is actually in the order book. So in a few seconds, we're basically able to go from, logging into the app, actually making a trade and confirming that transaction with very, very sort of ease of use, which really isn't existing in Ethereum today. And so, how I sort of see this is that where we're at right now is we're kind of at the intersection of usability and sort of like cost efficiency. And when you look at, for instance, Augur today as an example, people are routinely paying anywhere between $50 to $150 to actually make a transaction on top of Augur. And we actually get that transaction down to 1 cent. So I just wanted to give a quick demo. I'm super excited for Near to go to its sort of community vote. And this is what can be expected. So if you're a developer, please reach out. We have this awesome SDK that allows any developer to connect their app in 3 lines of code to the existing Flux protocol. And then we also have this open source app, which I just demoed, which is completely free to clone. And so if you're a developer, let's say in San Francisco, and you want to create markets on air quality, then you can get that up and running in just a few seconds with your own logo and UI color. So that's just a quick overview of Flux. And thank you for having me in the town hall. Happy to be here and present.
Hello, anyone here?
You're live. It's in the chat.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hi, everyone. Viktor from Bison Trails here. Bison Trails is an infrastructure as a service company predominantly based out of New York, where we're kind of all over the place now with COVID. And I'm a protocol specialist. I work very closely with protocols and have been working very closely with Near over the last year, I guess now, or year and a half. We're part of the Near Validator Advisory Board. And so what that is for folks that are just dialing in for the first time, it's a group of professional validators that assist the Near team with monthly discussions, testing beta releases, new feature suggestions, etc. We've been around for a couple of months now. And one of the things that we try to help with is just like, shepherding along processes, giving feedback and requesting features a lot of the time that continue to help, Near token holders, and help infrastructure providers, that help dApps and other folks. And so something that we've been chatting with the Near team about for the last couple of months really is the phase 2 launch process. And for those of you that aren't as familiar with it, Erik touched on it earlier, but in order to get to phase 2, which is the full unrestricted mainnet launch, there's actually a two-part process to it. The first part is to do an on-chain vote to enable token transfers. And so that, in order for that vote to pass, it requires 2/3 of the stake that is currently online to be voting in favor of it. And the second part is a Near core update to enable inflationary rewards. And so at that point, transfers are live, inflation is live, everything that is required for a decentralized network to be live is live. And at that point, like phase 2 is the considered, full launch, unrestricted mainnet, do whatever you want. And it's like completely run by the community. And so the Near team has done really, really well to get us to phase 1 so far, which is a phase that we're currently in. But in order to get to phase 2, the first step is the vote, and that vote is conducted by validators. And so, it's fascinating because if you look at most protocol launches, they're done in a little bit of a more coordinated way where the team takes on like a bigger, more leading role. And sometimes they serve as primary coordinators. Sometimes they, will launch networks themselves in a very centralized way and then decentralize it. And this is, I think, probably the first like full launch that is done in a completely decentralized way, where only validators get to vote. The Near Foundation isn't running any validators, and so like they're delegating tokens, of course, but they don't have a direct say into what the community decides. And that I think is really, really special, and it is unique from the protocols that we work with. But one of the consequences of it, or the other sides of the coin, is that the responsibility is much greater on all of us as community members to think about and be intentional with how and when and why we decide to vote in the affirmative, vote to launch the mainnet. And so as we were thinking about this internally, we started putting together a list of criteria that we thought are important in order to feel confident in voting yes and say, hey, the Near network is stable. It does have everything that is needed to launch in mainnet, and we're confident in it. And as we're putting together this list, we wanted to open source it, and we wanted to share with the community in that this is important for to help everybody think about the mainnet launch process. And this list isn't like a mandatory list, and it's not like a list of hardcore requirements, and not everybody has to use the list or agree on it. But we do think it's important to have a conversation around the criteria and get people's feedback, answer people's questions, so that all of us can make like an informed decision. And of course, each validator will be making their own decision, but it is helpful for all of us to talk about it first and to see like what's important to everybody and what we think is required. And so if you are able to get access to the GitHub links, I'm sure somebody will drop them in the chat, but you can actually take a look at the GitHub issue over here. And so it's voting criteria for the transition to phase 2. It's in the Near enhancement proposal category within the Near protocol GitHub, where we outlined some of the things that we think are important, but also like have tried to be very clear that these criteria, like you're welcome to engage, you're welcome to talk about it, welcome to ask questions. We do want to improve these, but we do want the community to feel confident that everybody can make their own choices, come up with their own criteria, and do whatever they want. These aren't mandatory in any sense of the word. In any sense of the word. And at the end of the day, Bison Trails is still, if we're going to be running one Bison Trails validator, we're still going to have only the votes that are on that validator. And so I'd love it if you could head over and provide feedback, ask questions, and engage with the criteria. And then the other thing that we're doing is we're actually hosting 2 community calls to talk about this as well. And so the first one is going to be in just 2 days, and the next one is going to be at the end of the week. I think the goal is to try to sharpen these conversations along as quickly as possible, because we're extremely excited for the Near network to launch, and we're extremely excited for some of the dApps that you saw displayed earlier to finally come to fruition and be able to attract users. And we're just extremely excited for Near to start iterating on and improving and continuing to get better with every passing day. And so we do want to get this done as quickly as possible, but at the same time, we also want to do it as safely and securely as possible, so that the mainnet launch is a full success. And so where you can help is, again, go to the GitHub, go to the community calls, attend, make your voice heard. We'd love to chat with you. And yeah, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, we're official. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a lag between us here and the streamers and the people who are watching this. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask in the hop-in chat or on any other channel that somebody can locate. And so fire away questions. So basically, this is unstructured time. This is just, we have I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 minutes here. We just want to be available. So if there are questions from the community, if there are events that you're hosting and you want to highlight and let everybody know as a shout out, like if you just post that and hop in, we'll see it, we'll read it, we'll shout it, and everyone hopefully will be able to know. So I'm going to start managing channels, and otherwise, I think question for Peter is, when's the end of the hackathon? When's the next one?
Sure. Yeah. Well, hackathon ends 9:30, which is the end of this. Well, yeah, 9:30. That sounds like a time. Wednesday. This Wednesday is when the cutoff for submissions are. Judging is going to be the next couple of days after that. And then we're also, I might as well announce it here. We're sponsoring ETH Online, which is the sort of COVID-influenced successor to ETH Global. And so if you're interested in hacking, if you just want to keep the hack alive, please submit to ETH Online under a near project. And we've already decided that it's cool to double dip. So if you're hacking on a bounty, we'll pay the bounty out and the hackathon prize. Yeah, it's no problemo. Also, before we start answering questions, I just want to give a huge shout out to Ashley Crawford. That's the person highlighted in the event and stage. What you guys don't see behind the scenes is she's been doing all of this tech stuff, switching like cameras and aspect ratios and making sure Hopin works. And she's done a fantastic job. She always does. Give her some love. Huge shout out to her. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. So, there is a question here. I'll ask it and then you guys can maybe answer it, which is, will validators pick and choose from the criteria list and then attract user delegation based on shared interests? Or are all or will all validators share unified list of criteria? So I don't know who wants to pick that up.
Yeah, I think I can grab that one. That's actually a really great question, because it's almost like two different questions rather than like an or. And that the first one, like validators can come up with whatever criteria they want, and it's up to them to communicate it with their token holders that are delegating to them of like how they're making the decision, why they're choosing one way or the other, and that's entirely up to the validators. But they're welcome to use the criteria that we as a community come up with, but they're also welcome to use their own and provide their own arguments for why they made that decision or use those criteria. And then the second thing is that it is actually really interesting because validators can, I think, like make their stance public in advance of like what they're looking for as a way to attract additional delegation and make sure there is that alignment. And so I would probably recommend like there should be an evolving conversation. If you want to connect with the validators, definitely ask the near team. There's we have like an A list of validators such as Zero Knowledge Validator and Dokia and Certus and a number of others. So yeah, definitely talk to them and reach out and reach out to us as well. Happy to have that conversation.
Cool. We've got a couple of questions coming in. I think this one was asked first, which is, as Near Protocol, you claim to be 10,000 times cheaper than Ethereum. Of course it is as fast, but Ethereum hosts thousands of dApps and projects, and that's why blockchain systems are slowing down. If Near were now in the same situation as Ethereum, would it still be so cheap and fast? That's an excellent question.
Yeah, I can take that. I think like the core point that's Near built on is kind of scale out, right? The idea that as you need more capacity, you actually add more nodes, like running stuff in parallel. And this is the same idea that everybody on the internet right now using to scale up servers for Google, Facebook, and any other like big company that has users. And so the idea is, as you know, like right now on Ethereum, you have 1,000 applications that are competing for pretty much one computer's capacity. And on Near, when we get there, or ideally even more, hundreds of thousands of applications, it will just keep scaling and adding more validators running nodes in parallel, right? Pretty much lowering the barrier of entry to validators, getting more nodes to be able to run the computation.
Think of it as like, if the freeway is congested, you could make more lanes.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's software, so it can do it dynamically.
Infinite lanes.
Well,
cool.
yeah.
Here's a question for me.
Yeah,
Which is oh, sorry. Go ahead, Erik.
Oh. I was just kind of a little bit also on the fact that one of the reasons Ethereum is expensive is because of congestion. And one of the cool things about once sharding is good to go is that actually the congestion spikes will actually create a sharding event, which will dynamically reshard the network, which will then reduce those fees. So there's a certain level of smoothing and stability that will be achieved.
Cool. Question for me. I'm not a developer. What can I do? A lot of stuff. Number one, you can go to near.chat and get involved right away. I mean, I think the coolest thing non-developers can do is still design applications or still design, just sit and think about what cool things you could make. Like there's so much opportunity now with fast blockchains that just going back and looking at old ideas that maybe you could put a spin on is like one of the most valuable. The other one is if you want to be a community manager, reach out to me or Nima in near.chat. Or again, you can email me, public email, peter@near.org, and I can introduce you to people if you are interested in building community. Here, we can move on. Oh, there's a follow-up question. What exactly are you achieving that Ethereum can't afford? Not exactly sure what that means, but Illia, if you want to, do you understand? If you understand, you can answer maybe.
Can't afford. I mean, yeah, I'm not fully understanding, but I think like one important piece that is different between just an approach itself, right, is that like what you mentioned, we approaching it from experience perspective, right? We're trying to make the user experience, the developer experience, and hopefully validators experience as well, better, smoother, right? In a way that, people can just use applications and don't bother to figure out all the details underneath. And like, will be one to say like, we're not there yet, right? It's a journey, not we're not a destination for sure. But that's kind of the focus that we've tried to put ourselves, up is not, build even like the best, scalable technology, right? Scalability is just part of this experience. It's obviously that, if you have this congestion problems, if you have huge fees, it's going to hinder your experience. It's going to, destroy your developers, business models. It's going to destroy your users' experience, like ability to use applications. So like all of those things that we've been building, right? Like under it still power the kind of idea of how do we make this more usable. And I think this is like very different from any other protocol out there, like just from the focus perspective, right? What people look for.
Okay, so I think we could probably do like maybe one more quick one because I know we're out of time.
When will a top-level account registrar be deployed? It will be essential to have that facility.
That's a great question. We will probably need some validator vote for that. I mean, we don't have a clear time, just because like the top level naming is a really cool feature. There's like already a lot of demand even on like .near names, but at the same time, we want to make sure that it's kind of is at the it starts at the point when it's fair and everybody can participate. Like when people already have all the have tokens and have ability to acquire them if they want to participate in this, right? So like we definitely want to do this like later after some initial rollout of the applications and the ecosystem on Near.
So for now, just bribe Illia.
Great note to end on. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us, and tune in again in 4 weeks. We'll be doing this again. So,
Bye, everyone.
Delegate.
Delegate.